Every spring, the same patch of your lawn betrays you. The grass greens up, the weather warms, and then it appears. Coarse, pale green blades fanning out flat against the soil, choking out the lawn you worked so hard to build. Crabgrass. And here's the part almost nobody tells you. By the time you can see it, the fight is already mostly lost for this year. Pulling it does not help, and spraying it once it is mature barely slows it down. Most of what people buy at the store to kill it is being applied at completely the wrong moment. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to walk you through exactly why crabgrass keeps coming back to the same spots, what the turfgrass science actually says, and the simple sequence that prevents it instead of chasing it. This is not about one magic product. It is about understanding one plant well enough that it stops winning. Before we go further, if you care about your lawn, do one small thing. Tap subscribe. This channel is built around the boring, evidence-based side of lawn care that the product aisle would rather you skip. Now, let us start with the single most important fact about crabgrass. Crabgrass is an annual, and that word changes everything. An annual plant lives for one season, sets seed, and dies when the cold arrives. The plant you see in August is already dead by the first hard frost, and it does not come back next year. What comes back is its seed. A single crabgrass plant can produce thousands of seeds before it dies. Those seeds drop into your soil, wait through the winter, and germinate the following spring when conditions are right. So when the same corner of your lawn fills with crabgrass year after year, you are not fighting the same plant. You are fighting last year's seed bank, and that is the whole game. If you stop seeds from germinating, you have no crabgrass. If you let them germinate, you are already behind. And this is where timing becomes the most powerful tool you have. Crabgrass seeds do not germinate on a calendar date. They germinate based on soil temperature. According to turfgrass researchers at universities like Purdue, Michigan State, and Rutgers, crabgrass begins to germinate when soil temperature in the top inch holds around 55 degrees Fahrenheit for several days in a row. Most germination happens as that soil temperature climbs towards 60 and 70 degrees. Notice that this is soil temperature, not air temperature, and this is the mistake that costs people their entire season. A warm week when early spring makes the air feel like summer, but the soil is still cold. Meanwhile, people wait for the calendar to say a certain month, and by then, the soil has already crossed the line and the seeds are awake. Let me pause here for a moment because this is exactly the kind of detail that matters most. I put together a complete reference guide that goes with this video. It includes a soil temperature timing chart, the full prevention sequence, and a region-by-region breakdown so you can find your own window. If you want it, the link is in the description below. It is the same material I'm drawing from in this video, organized so you can follow it season by season. Now, back to the soil. The tool that matters here costs almost nothing. A simple soil thermometer pushed into the top inch or two of your lawn tells you more than any calendar ever will. There is also a natural signal many extension offices point to. When the forsythia shrubs in your area finish blooming and begin dropping their petals, soil temperatures are usually approaching that germination window. Researchers note this is a rough cue, not a precise one, because forsythia responds to air temperature while crabgrass responds to the soil. But as a reminder to stop waiting and start acting, it works well. So here is the first half of the strategy, and it is the half that actually wins. Prevent germination before it happens. The most reliable tool for this is a pre-emergent treatment applied before the soil reaches that 55-degree mark. A pre-emergent does not kill existing weeds. It creates a thin barrier in the top layer of soil that interrupts the seedling as it tries to establish roots. University turf programs are consistent on this point. Once the crabgrass seedling pushes through and grows its first true leaves, most pre-emergent products can no longer stop it. That is why being slightly early always beats being late. Apply it too late and the barrier goes down after the seeds have already sprouted, which is like locking the door after the room is already full. There is one important exception to keep in mind. If you're planning to seed or overseed your lawn with new grass that same spring, most pre-emergent products will block your new grass seed from establishing too, because the barrier cannot tell the difference. In that case, you have to choose. And there are specific products labeled as safe around new seedings. Always read the label and follow the timing intervals it lists, because that single habit prevents most of the disappointment people have with these products. A pre-emergent stops this year's seeds, but it does nothing about why those seeds keep finding a home in your lawn in the first place. And this is the part the product aisle almost never explains, because there is nothing to sell you here. Crabgrass is opportunistic, and it does not invade thick, healthy, well-managed turf. It moves into the gaps, germinating where sunlight reaches bare soil. So every thin patch, every bald spot, every place worn down by foot traffic or scalped by mowing is an open invitation. This is why crabgrass shows up along driveways, sidewalks, and edges first. Those areas heat up faster, dry out faster, and the grass there is usually weakest. So the second half of the strategy is simply this. Make your lawn too dense for crabgrass to find an opening. The single most powerful lever you have for that is your mowing height. Research from multiple university extension programs found that raising your mowing height to around 3 inches or higher significantly reduces crabgrass germination. The reason is beautifully simple, because taller grass shades the soil surface and crabgrass seeds need light and warmth to germinate. Taller turf blocks that light, keeps the soil cooler, and the seeds simply stay dormant. Cutting your lawn short does the opposite, exposing the soil, lets it heat up, and rolls out the welcome mat for every weed seed waiting below. So the cheapest crabgrass control on earth is raising the deck on your mower by 1 notch. The next lever is overseeding. Spreading grass seed onto thin areas in the right season thickens the stand and closes the gaps before crabgrass can claim them. For cool season lawns, the best window for this is usually early fall, not spring, which also avoids the conflict with spring pre-emergent timing. Then there's watering. Deep and infrequent watering encourages your lawn to grow deeper roots, which makes it more resilient and more competitive. Shallow, frequent watering does the reverse and tends to favor shallow-rooted weeds like crabgrass. And finally, sensible fertilization that matches your grass type and season keeps the turf vigorous enough to crowd weeds out on its own. Now, what about the crabgrass that is already there this year? If it has already germinated, a post-emergent product labeled for crabgrass can help, and it works best while the plants are still young and small. Once the plant is large and mature, control becomes much harder, and honestly, the most realistic move is to keep it mowed. Prevent it from seeding where you can, and commit to winning next spring with prevention. Some people prefer non-synthetic options, like household vinegar or stronger horticultural vinegar used as a contact treatment. It is worth being honest about what this does. Vinegar burns the leaves it touches, which can damage young weeds, but it does not reach the roots. It is non-selective and will harm your lawn grass too, and stronger concentrations are regulated and can be hazardous to handle. It is a spot tool at best, not a lawn-wide solution, and it is not a substitute for prevention. So let me bring the whole thing together into one simple sequence. First, understand that you are fighting seeds, not plants. Second, track soil temperature and apply prevention before it reaches 55 degrees. Third, mow high around 3 inches to shade out the seeds you did not stop. Fourth, overseed thin areas in the proper season to close the gaps. Fifth, water deeply and feed sensibly so the lawn outcompetes weeds on its own. Do those 5 things in order, and crabgrass stops being an annual battle and becomes a problem you quietly designed out of your lawn. That is the real answer. Not a miracle spray, but a plant you finally understand well enough to beat. If you want the full sequence laid out step by step, with the soil temperature chart and the region by region timing windows, that complete guide is linked in the description below. It is the same material this video is built on, organized so you can follow it through the whole season. And if this changed how you think about that stubborn patch in your yard, do me one favor and subscribe to the channel. The next videos go deeper into the lawn problems nobody explains properly, and I would like you there when they land. Your lawn was never the problem, the strategy was, and now you have a better one. I will see you in the next video.